Hello and welcome to Let's Talk IBS with a Tummy Whisperer. My name is Helen Brooks and I help fed up, frustrated IBS sufferers who've tried everything get their life back using an evidence-based mind-body approach. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist with 18 years experience on a mission to raise awareness of gut-directed hypnotherapy. I'm here to help you go from being controlled by your gut to being in control of your life. My intention for this podcast is to educate, inspire and empower you. There's a real lack of awareness of hypnotherapy as an evidence-based, well-researched treatment for IBS. And with 10 to 15% of the worldwide population suffering, it's not okay that no one knows about it. And it's my plan to change that. Let's start a conversation about hypnotherapy and IBS that's really missing right now. I want the Tummy Whisperer to be a beacon of hope for those who need it. It's lovely to have you here with me for episode 3. So we've already looked at what gut-directed hypnotherapy is and how it works, and we've explored some of the clinical research around it. Today I'm going to share a bit about me and my journey to becoming the Tummy Whisperer, and I promise I won't be offended if you want to skip over to episode 4. Where did it all start? I guess I've always been into psychology before I even knew what that was. As a little girl, I was interested in what went on in other people's heads and what made them tick, why they did the things they did, and how did they see things from their perspective. As I got older, I really loved autobiographies, and especially those who'd endured something psychologically challenging, like Brian Keenan's years of solitary confinement. I know now that always wanting to see things from someone else's perspective is what's given me a finely tuned sense of empathy. And the power of the mind has always intrigued me. I remember when I was little, my dad telling me a story about a woman who'd single-handedly lifted a car from her child who'd been run over. He told me it was the power of her mind that had given her body the strength to do that. What was that power, I wondered? How was it possible? As a teenager, I began to really struggle with anxiety, and so the focus turned to my own mind and what was going on. Why was this happening? How could I stop it? And without the support and the knowledge and tools to help myself, I ended up in a really sorry state in hospital at one point. But it was there the words of one kind nurse changed the path of my life forever. She said to me, "It's okay, I understand how you feel." And those words, that genuine empathy, were the catalyst for change. So I didn't know it at that time, but I'd found my calling. I wanted to be that person for somebody else. So I was lucky to get the support that I needed and overcame my anxiety, and it gave me a much deeper insight into the inner workings of the mind from the inside out. So a personal rather than a theoretical understanding. And so I guess it was only natural that I'd go on to study psychology. So I moved from Lichfield in Staffordshire in the very middle of England, far from the sea, to sunny Brighton on the south coast where the sound of the seagulls made me feel like I was on a holiday, at least for the first 7 years. I loved my time at the University of Sussex, and it was there that I gained a degree in applied psychology. As well as a love of psychology, I love adventure, fun and experiences. I'm an explorer of the inner world of consciousness and the outer world. One of my favourite travel tales I tell my kids is about the day I stopped a charging water buffalo in its tracks on a mountain path high up in the Himalayas, saving myself and my friends from certain doom. I drove 30,000 kilometres in an old VW camper van all around Australia. It was utter bliss, especially the many detours to each wine region where I became an expert taster. So I spent 3 fantastic years travelling the world after university. I broadened my horizons, I deepened my knowledge, and it was then that I decided I wanted to study the subconscious mind and become a hypnotherapist. You see, I've never stopped being fascinated by what goes on in other people's heads, and I'm still in awe of the power of the mind. So I returned to Brighton, trained as a hypnotherapist, and I've spent to date recording the last 18 years, deepening my knowledge and honing my skills, further training and helping facilitate transformation in others. For most of those years, I've worked with a very broad range of clinical issues, including things like helping people with exam fears, interview and public speaking, tortoise phobia to tinnitus, and I've helped hundreds of people stop smoking, which is something that I really enjoy. So why the tummy whisperer? Why did I decide to focus entirely on IBS and gut disorders? Well, a number of reasons. So if you remember my client in episode 2, her suffering was greater than most, and her transformation was so spectacular. And then there's the huge body of scientific support for this approach, and that's really important to me. I really love that there's so much clinical evidence behind this way of working. And then combine that, seeing the results, knowing the facts and figures and the amazing statistics, combined with a frustration that nobody knows about it or can easily access it. And I got to a point, I decided this is not okay. And so the Tummy Whisperer was born. It was time for me to move out of my one-to-one therapy room and out of my comfort zone into the online world to enable me to reach those people that really need to know about this. So as you know, my mission is to raise awareness of gut-directed hypnotherapy and transform the lives of those with IBS. And beyond that, it's important to me to build a conscious business that does the right thing and gives back. I'm an official partner with Tree Sisters, and I'd love you to check them out. They're a truly inspiring organisation, and they've planted 17 million trees so far, supporting women all around the globe. So go and check them out. So I guess that's me. What else? Well, I love curry. I could live on it. I love a great pair of slippers. I prefer dressing down to dressing up, unless it's a party. I believe laughter is the best therapy and kindness is a superpower. I hope you'll hang around for episode 4, where I'll be getting back to the real stuff and giving you a deeper insight into exactly what to expect in a session of gut-directed hypnotherapy.